I fired my financial advisor on a Tuesday, which I'm told is not the dramatic day people usually pick, but I had errands after, and I like to be efficient about my rebellions. His name was Gerald. Gerald had a very nice office, leather chairs, a little dish of chocolates that I now realize were priced into my portfolio somehow. Gerald would say things like, "Let's not get emotional about the market," which is a strange thing to say to a woman who has been managing a household budget since she was 22. I have been unemotional about money since before Gerald owned a blazer. The end came over a fee. Not a big fee, a small one, the kind that hides in a footnote wearing a disguise. I found it by accident, squinting at a statement at midnight the way you do when you can't sleep and decide to torture yourself with paperwork instead. It was called an advisory service charge. I called Gerald. I asked what service. He described, at some length, a phone call we had never had. That was it for Gerald. Now, here's what nobody tells you about firing your financial advisor at 63. Everyone assumes you're either being reckless or you've lost your marbles, or both. My son Declan asked me, very gently, the way you'd ask someone if they'd left the stove on, whether I was sure about this. I have never been more sure about anything. I have been sure about very few things in my life. Whether to trust a man who compliments my coat, whether the good biscuits are actually worth the price difference, whether Myra is judging me. Those I go back and forth on. This I was sure about instantly. So I hired myself. No office, no chocolates, no blazer. Just me, a cup of tea, and a spreadsheet I built myself, which took a full weekend and several rude words directed at my own laptop. Here's what I have learned 1 month in. Most of what Gerald did, I can do. Not all of it. I'm not pretending I can pick individual stocks like some fella on the telly with a headset and a chart that looks like a heart monitor. But the bulk of it? Put money in sensibly. Don't panic. Don't touch it. Let time do what time does. That's not a secret. That's patience with a suit on. What I actually pay for now is different. I use a low-cost index fund instead of someone hand-picking things for a fee that eats the returns. I read one solid financial newsletter a week instead of taking a call every quarter, to be told the market had a bit of a moment. And when I truly don't know something, taxes, mostly, taxes terrify me. I pay an accountant for 1 hour, for exactly that hour, and not a retainer for a relationship I never asked for. Mayor, of course, has opinions. Mayor thinks I've lost the run of myself. Mayor has reminded me 4 separate times that she is the one who quietly took over my house insurance because I wouldn't deal with it. If I don't do it, Mayor will, she said again, and you don't want Mayor doing it. Fair point, generally, but insurance and investing are not the same animal, and I told her so. She was unconvinced. She's bringing it up again at Christmas. I can feel it. Here's the thing nobody says out loud. A lot of financial advice isn't complicated. It's dressed up to feel complicated, so you keep paying someone to translate it for you. Once you strip away the jargon, most of it is things your grandmother could have told you for free. Spend less than you have. Don't gamble what you can't lose. And don't let anyone make you feel foolish for asking a plain question. I asked Gerald a plain question exactly once near the end. I asked him to explain, in 1 sentence, what I was actually paying for. He needed 4 sentences and a hand gesture. That was my answer right there. Now, I'm not going to sit here and tell you to march in and fire your advisor tomorrow. Some people have complicated situations, businesses, inheritances, messy divorces, more zeros than I've ever seen in my life. That's not me being falsely modest. My finances, at this stage, are simple enough that I can hold the whole picture in my head over 1 cup of tea. But if you've got a simple situation and you're paying someone a complicated fee to manage it complicatedly, ask them your version of my 1 question. Watch how many sentences it takes. I won't pretend I don't get nervous. Every so often, I open my little spreadsheet and my stomach does a small flip, the way it used to before a parent-teacher meeting. But then I remember nobody in that leather chair was ever going to care about my money the way I do. Nobody has more motivation to get this right than the woman who has to live with the results of it. So that's the update. Gerald has been fired. The chocolates I do miss slightly. The footnote fees, not at all. I fired my financial advisor and hired myself. And so far, the new one hasn't cost me a single penny in fees I can't explain. Mayor says give it a year. I say watch me.